Casey Jones Distillery sending out their Total Eclipse Bourbon and their Total Eclipse Moonshine just in time for the eclipse happening on April 8th. They were kind enough to send these glasses along with these two whiskeys. I cannot see a lick through here. So the Total Eclipse Bourbon is made up of 75% corn, 10% wheat, 10% rye, and 5% malted barley. And the Total Eclipse Moonshine is made up of 50% Kentucky corn and 50% cane. Definitely excited to get into these guys. So without further ado, let's go. So the Total Eclipse Bourbon is aged for 2.6 years. Mash bill on this one, again, is 75% corn, 10% wheat, 10% rye, 5% malted barley. Comes in at 100 proof. And this was sent out in preparation for the eclipse happening on April 8th and the Path of Totality. Let's get the nose. You know, surprisingly, with as young as this is, at 2.6 years old, it has a very buttery nose. You do still get some of that corn influence, that sweetness on the nose further in. Again, but it's very buttery. You get that that buttered kind of popcorn aroma to it, but then also, again, those grains kind of coming out. And this is a 4-grain mash bill. Very curious as to what this is going to taste like on the palate. Again, nose very, very sweet. Some caramels, again, some vanillas. Very kind of traditional nose, but I do like that butteriness that it gives off. It's very sweet. Let's get to the palate, guys. Cheers. So only being 2.6 years old, this one kind of tricked me. It does taste a little bit older. You do get some of that grain on there. For me, I think the wheat on this one kind of softens up those rough edges that you'll get from some of that rye, and then also some of the graininess. That wheat gives this soft kind of feel. That butteriness is still kind of present there on the front middle of the palate. A lot of that sweetness there too. Those caramels, those vanillas, a lot of those traditional kind of bourbon notes. But then again, that softness from that wheat, and it starts to like bring forth some fruitiness, some red fruits there towards the back of the palate. Not too much, because there is some of that grain influence in there. But again, toned down with some of that wheat maybe kind of rounding off those sharp edges. Let's get a second sip. Second sip for me definitely changed. This does not taste like a 2.6-year-old whiskey. Definitely in that 4-year-old range. Maybe it has something to do with that 4-grain mash bill on this one. I know there's not a lot of malted barley in it. I don't get that influence at all. But that butteriness and that sweetness up on the front of the palate, and then it turns, I think that wheat really shows up, that 10% wheat. Again, it softens those rough edges out, and it gives like this butterscotchy, it's like a red fruit butterscotch kind of mixture there towards the center of the palate and into the back. Fades away quickly, but again, it's, you know, only being that age, you know, you wouldn't expect it to kind of linger on and last, but it has a short to medium finish to it. I do like that butterscotch note to it, though. I didn't get that on the first sip. Definitely got it on the second one, though. Let's get a last sip, guys. Cheers. This would be a very tricky whiskey in a blind, because I would never guess it's 2.6 years old. Again, I know I've said that a couple times, but there's just no way. Again, saying, you know, it really hasn't changed much since that second sip. You're still getting some of that butterscotch, some of that red fruit. Again, the wheat is kind of it's allowing to be like that softness there across the palate, but then that butteriness and that sweetness with those caramels and vanillas up at the front as it kind of flows through into the back. And again, the finish dies off pretty quick. It's a short to medium finish. I really want to see what happens with a little extra age on this. Maybe at that actual 4-year mark, I would love to see what this, you know, kind of transitions to as it gets some age. But very nice job here by Casey Jones. All right, so we're going to dive into this Total Eclipse Moonshine here really quick. Just one sip. This one, again, distilled in Kentucky. Mash bill on this one is 50% Kentucky corn and then 50% cane. Comes in at 100 proof. Let's get into it. So, two things on the nose that I get is a candy corn, like you would get at Halloween, and then buttered popcorn. So, very, very sweet on the nose. I believe it is going to replicate that on the palate. Cheers. The Moonshine did exactly that. It is very sweet. It reminds me again of buttered popcorn and then some of those candy corns you get during Halloween from the front of the palate all the way into the back. Slight little spiciness there, but again, there is no rye. It's just from that 100 proof there sitting across the center of the palate. Again, another really nice release here from Casey Jones. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. I want to give a big shout out to the team over at Casey Jones Distillery for supplying with the samples and glasses here to review on the channel. Again, guys, I'd love to see what would happen as Casey Jones product gets a little bit older. At 2.6 years, it kind of fooled me. I definitely felt it drank around that 4-year-old age. Would love to see what this tastes like at that 4-year-old mark to see if it actually tastes older than what it really is at that time. Moonshine, again, very sweet, buttery, popcorn, candy corn there on the nose and the palate. A lot of fun reviewing these, but again, big shout out to Casey Jones for sending me these here to review on the channel. So guys, if you're looking for more reviews like this, hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. Till next time, guys, stay dusty.